So it's the Mark Jack Paul show.
Can't talk about that.
We're not talking about anything.
Can we now? Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection.
All right, so it's Dudes Like Us. It's the second half. We have stepped up the game a little bit. I forgot what type of bourbon we have. It's the one you bought.
Yeah, the one I got.
It is really good.
It's the Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, spending a lot of time on bourbon for the last show and this.
Yeah, Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection. It's a new one again. And yeah, it's good. My wife thought it was a little hot, but you know, as we drink it, Paul drank it, he's like, "That's smooth. That's not spicy."
And that's what was funny. Your wife was like, "Oh my gosh," you'd coughing and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this got some heat behind it, right?"
All right.
And then I took a big sip, and I was like, "Oh no, there's no burn. There's nothing going on there." And I'm like, "I have a problem."
Right.
Like,
So let's
we've numbed
I
our.
want to sidestep
Okay.
this real quick and
All right.
and because just break this up a little bit because we've been talking about bourbon a lot for the first show. So I'm kind of like,
Okay.
let's go. We'll come back to the bourbon.
Okay.
I want to share with folks because there's a lot of people that you hear all kinds of stories about different places around the world, and you think about it. I don't know where you grew up at, if you grew up in a small neighborhood, big neighborhood, and like we're from the Dallas Fort Worth region, so we're used to what's going on here. And you think about other areas. You think about New Orleans and how that's like. You think about Michigan and California, and then
Dramatically different. Yeah.
and then you got New York City and that kind of area. And I'm just thinking, I have to share my experience, just a little niche of what I got. Because when I first thought about New York City and going out there, just think about it. You getting on a plane, traveling to New York City, how are you going to handle that? I mean, as far as
Right.
being dudes like us, whether you're vaccinated or not, if you're not vaccinated, you're in New York City, you're not going to be able to get in anywhere. You can't get into the museums. So I went out there for
Insane.
work for 2 weeks about. And I want to say, first of all, I enjoyed the whole experience down there.
Yeah.
I did spend a lot of time in New York City. I was mostly on the New Jersey side of the river on the Hudson. And they don't have any mandates for vaccines or masks like that, so you can go anywhere you want. But I did spend 2 days out in New York City, and just because I'd never been there. And I'll tell you, it was cool. But I want to share with you some of the weird stuff going on.
Okay.
All right. We'll start with they have an interesting network of transportation.
Yes.
All right. The subways, the buses.
Right.
And
Yeah, like a ton of people there don't own cars, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
They maybe have bikes, but most of them are 100% bus and subway.
So look, these guys, and I got to hand it to them. Those folks that have to do that, they choose to travel like that.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and you walk a lot, and I think that is great for just health
It's healthy.
wise.
Yeah.
So there's walking. So you walk a couple blocks because you got to get where you got, but you can basically go anywhere in a freaking subway.
Right.
And get really close to where you want to go, and then you have to walk 1 or 2 blocks, and you're there. Boom.
Right.
So, and then you buy these little passes to the subway, and they've got because you've got 5 major, what they call them, boroughs of New York,
Boroughs,
yeah.
Their neighborhoods.
and Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan,
Bronx,
and one more.
Is Harlem one?
I don't
know.
Or is that a subset of another place?
I don't know.
The 5 boroughs of New York. I don't know. So, anyways, first of all, the traveling was a breeze. Once you get in there and you kind of get the nuts and bolts, they've got like basically in a subway, for example, they've got 2 types of subways. They've got a subway that will stop a lot, and they have subways that won't stop.
They're like express ones.
Yeah, you got your express ones that just keep going right on through, and then you have ones that stop almost at every stop.
Right.
So knowing that, and they all show up at different times, and you can get around basically anywhere you want pretty quick, pretty efficiently, and I didn't have any problems. There were homeless people there. Some people were like Newark, New Jersey, where I was at. They're like, oh my God, coming from Dallas, they're like, dude, man, this is gonna be a horrible experience, man. There's people get shot there all the time, dude. Man, people are nicer there than they are here in Texas. That was my experience there. I enjoyed myself, and I hate to slam Texas. And I know
I think you have to. I think
that.
you have to clarify where in Texas, right? If you're in downtown Dallas, you're not going to have a lot of friendly people. If you're in downtown of a lot of other cities around
But
here,
in downtown Dallas compared to New York City,
well, downtown Dallas is pretty much dead. There's nothing going on down there for the most part.
right?
There's like one little section down there on McKinney that may have something going on, but downtown Dallas is not like it's not jumping and
New
jiving.
York City is crazy. We were
But okay. Let me clarify since we're on the friendly thing. New Jersey, are you saying that the people in New York City were friendly?
They're just like,
because when I was there, crowded, like people walking all over the place. I'm used to looking at people, making eye contact.
yeah, that's another thing.
Nobody makes eye contact.
I want to get with that too.
Nobody
they're
makes
like
eye
ants.
contact.
When you are in a subway, they're extremely docile. It's kind of like don't make waves.
Yeah, they're like zombies.
You get on the subway, exactly. They're like zombies. You get on the subway, you look down.
You don't make eye contact with anybody.
Yeah, you don't want to make eye contact. So if you're real outgoing and you're like, hey, how's it going? You don't want to do that. People get in the habit of, this is my personal space. This is what I'm doing. And people start acting crazy into your top left of your eye, over there in the top right. You're kind of like, just ignore them. And you stay in your little bubble and you get off. And this is like, that's
See, and I understand why they're that way, but I wouldn't call that friendly.
Correct.
Keep going.
From that perspective, it's not. But it was kind of weird because I wanted to share that because I got on the subways and because there are some volatile circumstances that pop up where you hear some drunk guy that's drunk and
or high.
Well, I also
whatever.
think that goes to where someone is getting attacked and people don't do anything. I mean,
they video
world,
it.
Yeah, they'll video it, but they won't step in to help.
That's right.
Right? Someone gets punched in the face and they're down. No, I'm not. You hear about that happening up there where
you do,
where no one does anything to help.
Like the lady that pushed the other lady into the side of a moving subway car,
right.
And all the people just were sitting down and just looking at her, and she kind of walked off, and they were just kind of looking at her. They didn't jump up and help the woman that had knocked.
I think that's kind of a difference between what you'd find there and what you'd find here. At least I'd hope.
Right? I hope so too.
Well, I was on a subway, and it has
was it clean?
The way I could define a subway is that I didn't feel uncomfortable sitting down.
You didn't slide,
okay.
But I didn't enjoy grabbing the handles because they have the. I did it, but every now and then you hit a rough spot and you're like, oh,
kind of crunchy.
What was that?
So you're saying there weren't subway attendants running up and down, wiping everything clean,
No.
all the poles and everything? Because
Sanitizing it?
I would
sanitizing.
compare it to almost a public bathroom.
So explain that one.
And
they
it doesn't
require vaccines
but it
everywhere
doesn't
they
smell
go,
like
but they
urine.
don't sanitize the subway. Interesting.
Yeah, it
Seems kind of contradictory.
It's extremely. And and they make you wear masks everywhere. And if you want to get into any of the restaurants, you have to show your.
You have to wear masks outside in New York City.
No, there were a lot of people that didn't wear masks outside.
Okay.
When you're outside walking up and down the street, we didn't wear masks.
Rebels.
If you're in the subway, if you walk down those steps and you're in the subway area, you put a mask on.
You have to
it's kind of like the airport.
You do it for your own protection.
You do. It's an unwritten rule.
And it has nothing to do with COVID.
Does it smell like urine?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with
like
COVID.
urine, but it wasn't well cleaned. But it was cool because they had, when you have these designers talk about decorating place and we're gonna put some subway tile here. Well, that's what they're talking about. I saw what the subway tile they were referring to,
and you liked
it was really cool. I wouldn't put it in my house.
What is it?
Well, they just it's kind of like for a particular stop. There's like a big tile photo. God bless it. What do they call it? Like a tile picture,
like a mural.
A mural, and
collage.
And it's got the names on it. Like, well, this is something station, and it's kind of like that tile's probably been up there 50 years.
Right.
And it's old school stuff.
Probably longer than that.
Probably.
50 years was only 1970s.
Isn't that crazy?
Fuck.
God.
Yeah,
Why
but
do
my
you
point.
why do you do stuff like
Just-
that?
But there was cool stuff. So you got zombies in the subway, and
Yeah.
you got we're talking about now performers. All right, you got performers.
Trying to make money.
Yeah, just
Any
guys
nudity?
down in the subway because then you got all these shows where you got these cops running around chasing robbers on these shows, and they've always got some sort of performance guy out there, you
Right.
know, or group of
With
performers.
drumsticks, banging on a
On a bucket.
a bucket upside down.
But that was kind of cool. All right, that's so.
Those are New York
This
street
is in
music.
New York, by the way. This
Yeah,
wasn't
that's what it sounds like.
in.
No, that was New York.
So but it was kind of cool. It was cool to experience that. It really was. And so I'm kind of cherry picking because I didn't have a lot of bad experiences except the fact that I couldn't get into some of the places.
That's why you didn't
But
have
there
any bad
wasn't a-
experiences.
But
All you did
there
was walking
wasn't a
down the street.
but you
confrontation.
beat the system.
Well, of course. I'm shocked.
And how'd you do that? Talk us through how you beat the system. It was genius.
He's white.
It's just the power of suggestion.
They didn't let those black people in.
They're
They
like,
let the white
we
people
need
in.
to see proof of vaccine, but I'm white.
All right.
Oh, well, come on in. I'm sorry. I don't think that's how that went down.
Oh,
Says here I'm Caucasian. I can get right on in.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sir, go right
I
on
have the
through,
white
sir.
privilege
Sorry.
card. Let me show you that card.
No,
Wow.
isn't that the way
So-
it works?
I think-
Basically,
yeah,
well,
yes, Jeff. That's exactly
on
how
a
it
couple
works.
venues, I had a friend of mine that was out there, and he had ordered a drink for me,
Yes.
and
Was it a Manhattan?
no, it was a beer. I don't even recall what the drink was, but I would get the drink. And
Was it a Bronx?
now at that time that I had the drink, now I'm kind of like, all right, well, I'm in the system because I have a drink. All right, well, he's cleared because he's got a drink. Certainly, he wouldn't have received a drink in a venue.
Of course.
So he kind of came out and gave it to you?
Well,
No.
no. So
He
there's
texted
seating.
you and said, "Hey, your drink's in here."
There's seating outside. So they've got a little seating area outside, and so he was sat down and he was like, "Oh, I've got my friend. We're waiting. We're gonna have dinner. Well, we'll both have a couple beers." And so I get there, I grab the beer, I take the beer, I stand up and I walk inside with my beer, and so they're like, they just kind of look at you because you have a beer already. They're like, "Oh, I guess we're going in."
So what I'm hearing is you can just grab a beer from home and just walk into a
Hold on.
place.
Noted.
Hold on.
I
Ho-
like the
well,
way
hold
you
on.
think.
In the outside seating area, they didn't check for vaccination?
Well, they checked him.
Yeah, but don't you have to walk past somebody to go sit with him to get the beer?
So
He grabbed over the rail.
wait staff. No. This you can walk. There's so they have the sidewalk. All right,
Okay.
because you're sitting on the street essentially.
Oh, okay.
So you have the walkway, and then you got to walk over the sidewalk to get to the seating area. Because what they do is they rent the car lots where you can park,
Right.
and they have they're nice seating areas. So they've got it's a big corral, and so you probably put 10, 15, 16 tables in the little 3-car slot.
Okay.
There's a lot. So
Yeah.
what he would do, he would sit there and he ordered me the beer, and what I would do is I'd go to the table and I'd grab my beer and I'd take it inside to the bar.
Right.
So it was I just walk straight to my beer, grab it, and we walk straight inside with our beer. And that was it. There was no
Then you got a table.
it was like because the guy at the door checks you.
And he was like, "Oh, he's got a beer. I must have checked him already."
Yeah. And then we went to this one place where we didn't have it didn't work out quite like that. And I was like, well, I had my vaccine card. I lost it here last night. And we have no idea where it's at.
That's what you said to the guy?
That's what I told him. I was like,
and he was like, "Oh,
it's like I
my
lost it here.
God."
And he was kind of like, just get in there.
Right. He's
Yeah,
like, "I
just
don't want
get
to
the fuck
fight
out-
you.
get the fuck
I've been
outta here."
fighting people all day."
I don't get paid enough to deal with this. Is
right.
what it is.
Right.
But there's some guys that do, man. They take that shit serious. Like there were a couple really nice places I want to go in, like our Staples in downtown New York City that you want to go to, and absolutely, it was some big dude. It was like the real kind of like
Right.
outside of an Irish bar. I wanted
Like
to
He
a
go.
had
big
like a green
bouncer.
light that he flashed in your eyes and said, "You're not vaccinated."
Did you have to knock on a door, a little door slide open with his eyes come out? And you had to
What's-
hold your vaccine card
Yeah.
up.
What's the vaccinated code word? Fuck Joe Biden. You're in.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, Brandon.
That was so funny. That Let's go, Brandon. Oh, look, they're calling your
I
thing.
tell you what, that's how these
So
people are
full of
getting on.
shit.
That's how these people are getting on the air now. That's what they're saying instead of the cuss word. They're just saying, "Let's go, Brandon."
That
Right.
seems like that's the way to go now. Instead of saying "fuck Joe Biden," they're going to be like, "Let's go." That's what it's going to be.
That's what
Right.
it is now.
That's what it is now.
And,
That's what they're saying.
And they're mocking. They're doing two things. They're saying, F Joe Biden without saying it, and they're mocking that stupid ass reporter that said, "I think they're saying let's go, Brandon."
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's what I saw. I was watching college football, the show on ESPN. I like watching the college football pregame. They hold up the signs.
Yes.
And there were a bunch that said, "Let's go, Brandon," back there.
It's great.
And there's no cuss words on it, so I can't.
Yeah, they can't. They can't take it away from you.
Yeah, I think they have people in the crowd that will go pull some of the more objectionable ones now, because you'll see someone holding something up. You're like, "Oh, that's a good one," and next thing you know, it's gone.
Yeah, it's like they get wrestled to the ground.
It's like someone goes over and goes,
somebody starts.
It's like
beating the
right
shit out of
behind.
them.
He's right behind Herb Street's head for like
Right.
30 seconds.
It's
and
the
then-
It's the
and then they come
Democrat
back,
Party.
and it's gone.
It's Antifa aligned with the Democrat Party going around pulling
Right.
down signs.
Right.
Anyway,
They had some weird stuff. I took a walking down the street there. I took a picture and I texted it to you guys. The little chalk writing on there. There were like some sort of demonstration was gonna happen, and it says that some guy goes out there, writes on the sidewalk, and then people walk by there. They're like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna come out here at this time," and that's how they communicate. Instead of doing Twitter or some social media like that, it's just like, "Hey, at 2:00, I need you to go down to the park and read the memo that's written on the sidewalk."
But they use Twitter. What do you mean they don't use Twitter? Of course
I'm
they
just
use
saying,
Twitter.
well, I mean, if you don't use Twitter and you want to find out where it's at, that's written right there.
Yeah,
on the
these people
sidewalk.
would be lost without Twitter. They wouldn't know what to do
It's the
without
Twitter mob.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh my god, I haven't gotten a tweet today."
So I did a couple things
Just
that,
like that.
I wanted to share. At least two
I don't think they're taking a
experiences. One of the experience was going to Central Park. So when
The
you're
homeless are.
when
They
you're
are.
in a big city, and plus the 911 memorial was a pretty cool thing to see.
9/11.
Plus the
9/11. It's not
what-
It
what
does
I
say
say?
911 doesn't sound right.
That's
9/11.
calling the cops
all right. Well,
Yeah,
so 9/11
and they won't respond.
was
in LA County anyway.
Yeah,
it was moving.
I bet.
It was moving because it wasn't so much me. It was the people that were there and saw it.
Was that somber?
Very.
It was because look, there were people that were there, some of them that you knew a relative of theirs died, and they were there for that reason.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
have engravings that go in this that are on the plaques all the way around the whole thing, and these people were showing up, and they would take a flower, and they'd snip it so that
man.
it sticks into the diameter of the letter of their name. So you get it. There's
wow.
it's like it's just luck that the standard size rose, when you snip it, the stem can fit in that metal
Yeah.
letter. So that was cool. So when you walk by there's like these little roses that are stuck everywhere,
Mhm.
and that they came there to show respect to the folks that passed away. It was very moving to go there. And from the 9/11 or 9/11
9/11.
9/11, we went to the Central Park from there,
Okay.
and
Is it that close?
Battery Park. You know what? I don't
Oh,
remember.
you know what? I looked on the map. It's probably 5 or 6 blocks
Yeah,
north.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not that far.
I've never been there, so I don't know. I'm just.
Well, the only reason why I know is because we were going to go to New York City, if you remember. I was going to fly into Jersey. We were going to see the Titans and Jets. Remember that?
Yeah, I wish you would have gone. We would have blast.
Yeah, it would have been. But and then yes, I was looking at different Airbnb spots in the
You could
city.
have stayed at my hotel.
All three of you
Well, I okay. But
on your anniversary.
This was before you knew you were going
I
out
know,
there.
I know.
Anyway, so when I was
just
looking at the map
disappointing.
of where the Airbnb places was, I was like, oh wow, there's Central Park and there's Manhattan and there's I was able to kind of spot how it all it's all laid out there.
So we walked through Central Park, and it's really remarkable because it's a big nature place right in the middle of all this.
Do you
It
kind
does-
of do
it
you
just-
kind of get a? Is it like a total escape from the city?
It is. It is.
So
Yeah, you can lay down in the grass and
There's-
you can look at the sky.
There's birds.
You should have sent a picture of that. Of you
So
laying on the grass and looking into the sky.
they have these incredibly
With cross-eyed.
large
Cross-eyed.
crystallized rocks that are coming out of the ground. Just
Like-
huge
like
rocks.
geodes.
Well,
What?
it's just large rocks, and they're crystallized, and they've got some quartz and stuff in the rocks, and they come out of
Really?
the ground like
diamonds.
up to 2
Is
stories.
it all natural? They put it there?
No,
or-
it's natural.
Did
It's
they,
all
grow, did they
natural.
stones.
grow it?
Grow it.
Yeah, they're crystal rock trees.
It's not rock candy.
I thought it was crystal rock trees. No.
So basically, all those pictures you see there.
Oh, it's a big rock.
Yeah, they've got some pretty tall ones out there. So I managed to find a rock.
So they're all
that when
truly
you-
natural.
when
Look
you-
at that.
When you climb up there and when you look down, you see all kinds of reflections, like broken glass everywhere. And when you get closer, there are crystals in the rock.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very
I've
cool.
never heard of that.
So when
Of rocks?
we
In
climbed
Central
up there,
Park.
the rocks were formed kind of like a lounge chair, where it's got your groove for your butt and your back, and it's kind of curved like that, and your feet get up, so you're almost in the fetal position. It was extremely comfortable.
Did you sleep?
I closed my eyes. I did not fall asleep, but I closed my eyes, put my backpack around my head, and put my feet up, and it was quite comfortable.
Nice.
And
Isn't that where you've got mail, that little bridge? Did you find that?
yes, I walked right through it. I have a picture of it.
Did you hold hands
With yourself.
with your friend?
No, I did not. In fact, right there is the same park that Elf Will Ferrell was like throwing snowballs at the guys that were well in the movie Elf. Will Ferrell's having a snowball fight. So I saw that, and they have like the old cliche bridge where people walk through, and you walk to the other side, and the person it's like it never fails. When you get to the other side, you're gonna die. It's in all the movies. It's kind of like when it's a creepy, it's in the Central Park.
Through the tunnel.
Yeah, through the tunnel. So as soon as you get on the other side, you die.
So there's a pile of dead bodies? Is that what you're saying?
No, but it was kind of cool to walk through it, just to see it all. It was an experience. I'm telling you, there's people that are kind of like, I'm never going to go to New York. It's crazy, but I'll tell you, to get a room. I mean, if you were to go up there for a weekend, leave like a Friday morning, Friday noon, and get 2 nights up there, Friday night and Saturday night, and you were able to spend. I mean, it would be worth it. I mean, for the trip and for the hotel to go in and just see the sights.
Yeah.
I would totally do it.
Without going in anywhere?
Well, I mean, it was a little frustrating that you couldn't see some of the museums, but even not seeing the museums, I got to see the Central Park, and you're able to.
So you're saying don't stay in New York City?
Correct. Oh, totally don't stay there. No, don't stay there. You want to stay, you go to New Jersey. Dude, they have so many things in New Jersey, right on the other side. I mean, when you say New Jersey, it's like, dude, because when you're in Texas and you talk about another state, I mean, well, that's quite the endeavor to go hit another state.
No,
Texas.
up there everything's close.
Dude, up there it's like New
That's
Jersey.
what I like
It's
living. That's what I like living in Ohio. You could be in another state, 3 states away in 5 hours.
well, but even there, it was like 15 minutes
Oh,
on
yeah,
New
it's-
Jersey.
it's
Yeah.
even closer up
and,
there.
and what's crazy is how it's so dramatically different from like the rules, like the
Oh, yeah.
vaccine rules
I could,
between New
15
Jersey and
minutes
New York
away,
City.
I don't need
How-
a
how
mask or anything.
Can you imagine being somebody who regularly, like who lives in New Jersey and regularly commutes to New York City to work, and then they gotta deal with the differences in
Right.
Man,
in rules.
I
Right.
had so many different
How
things I had to
weird,
look
right?
at where people are, because all my job was all on the New Jersey side.
right.
So I would meet with these folks, and they were like, I was like, well, where do you work? They're like, oh, I work in Manhattan. I'm like, oh, cool. So they were like, I was like, so how do you get there? And they were like, like I get on a bus right outside my front door,
Right.
and it drops me off right where the subway's at. I get on the subway. It takes me 2 blocks from
Right.
the front door of my job.
Right.
And bam, the
Bam.
whole process takes 20 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I wonder how they
And
feel
we're
about
fighting with an hour-long traffic commute here.
right.
And if you drive that distance, it'll take you an hour,
Right.
hour and a half.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if they roll their eyes at the rules in New York City because they don't live that way at home.
Everyone rolls their eyes at the, there are some freaks out there. I mean, there was someone that sent me I don't know if I was just going through TikTok or what the deal is with it, but there was kind of like the way it is in Florida and the way it is in California. And they're like, these people kind of but they walk into a grocery store. They don't have masks on. And you've got all these people that are like,
freaking out.
yeah, freaking, oh my God. They get a bunch of groceries. They pay for it. They're like, how much are the apples? They're like $2. Here's $4. Keep the change. They wouldn't take, they left the money on the counter and they were trying to take the apples out. And they were like, no, they take the apples away from them. You can't have anything. And then they took the apples and they tossed them.
Like as if they had been contaminated.
Yeah, well, like you can't have them. No, you're not buying the apples. I don't give a fuck.
That's a real experience?
Oh, it was absolutely real.
I sent that.
Did you?
I sent that.
It's
You
embarrassing.
You have it.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
There was a difference between Trader Joe's in California and one in Florida. Drastic difference. There was a group of people who was like, we're just going in there with no mask on. So they went in and everyone started freaking out.
That's so...
Everyone started so they were in there shopping and they're like, we're not going to sell that to you. We're not going to sell that to you. So they'd go up, bag of apples. They said, here's $4. And they're like, I'm not taking that. You can't take those apples. I was like, well, I paid for them. No, you can't take those. So they were like forcibly taking the apples away from it and trying to give them their money back.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Now, Trader Joe's is a private company, can do what they want.
It
right?
just shows the massive retarded ignorance of people.
Right.
But
it was the whole store.
I
it was the whole store doing it.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how people can be so brainwashed and driven by fear. We are such sheep, and they're giving up their freedoms, and they're too stupid to know better. They're literally too stupid to know better.
That's why I think if I went out to California now, we don't wear masks here.
Right.
I do when I go. You do when you go to the doctor. That's about it.
That's the only place I wear one.
When I go to the doctor, but besides that, there are no masks.
There is nothing about COVID has affected me outside of wearing a mask at a doctor's office.
Yeah,
quite honestly,
I did it when I was going.
It
to
has
PT.
not affected me. I don't do anything different. I mean, other than people working from home to where we can't get together like we did before because they're spread out more.
Well, I got to tell you,
does that make sense?
Putting a mask on. I've never. You guys been out with a mask, and have you ever experienced like the lack of oxygen?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
I don't keep it on long enough.
I haven't either
I'm always pulling it down or something.
Right.
Until I got on an airplane.
Oh, that would suck.
Well, it did, and I tell you, I had to really mentally calm myself.
You're getting like claustrophobic?
I couldn't breathe. I felt like I wasn't getting enough oxygen.
You know, if you have a respiratory disease, you don't have to wear a mask.
Well,
yeah, but how do you prove that? Doctors don't.
Yeah, you just say I have a respiratory disease.
Show me proof.
Are you issued a card when you have a respiratory disease?
I don't know. I mean, what are the rules? What do these airlines require for you to say?
Oh, you have to. Exactly. What do you?
So what if everyone went up and says, "I have a respiratory disease"?
Well, you have to say it differently. I have a respiratory disease. I
have a respiratory disease.
Oh God.
No, that's throat cancer.
Yeah,
wow,
that's fucked up, man.
God, that was well done. By the way,
but my point is that it sucked. I always, for some reason, I always get a window seat. I like sitting at the window. You know, I don't like sitting at the aisle. I know it's more room and more comfortable, but even though you're in the window and you can't stand up and you're crunched in there in an economy plus, even though you shouldn't be.
So it's like being in the womb.
Yeah, you're really in the fetal position.
That's what it is.
But I get that window, and I'm able to turn my face to the window, and I could take my mask off.
But if they see you take your mask off, they'd yell at you.
Oh, you would be in a full-blown brawl on the plane.
Would.
Yeah, but no one sees me. Nobody sees me because I've got my.
What, you got your whole face to the wall?
Well, I have a.
That's a little odd.
But I told you, I packed my blankie, so I had my.
So you put a blanket over your head and take the mask off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess if you have a blanket over your head, nobody can see your face. What difference does it make?
You're snuggy.
Are you what do you call those ones that have no arms?
I think they're called snuggies.
Are
Aren't
they
they?
called
Yeah.
snuggies?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's just my point is that even for me, and I've never had this problem until I wore the masks.
Right.
You know, and it was it was scary. I'm telling you.
That you felt the breathing issue that you were
yeah,
having.
it was kind of like I just honestly felt like I seriously wasn't getting enough oxygen,
Oh wow.
and I don't know. And so anyways,
And that's a long flight.
I had that was well, it was still. I mean, I don't know if it was psychological, or if it was real.
Well, that's how claustrophobic people get. Okay. Oh my god, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
I can't breathe.
And you,
I can't
yeah,
breathe.
and you probably were like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Well, I just all I would do is keep talking to myself, just chill.
Maybe you're
just chill.
claustrophobic.
And I took off. I would take off as soon as I took off my mask, and I would turn my head to the window. I'd take off my mask, and I would breathe. I have the air blowing on my face, and I would breathe into that, and I put my mask back on, and it was just I take deep breaths, and I don't know, maybe I am a little claustrophobic.
I
I
don't know.
didn't realize
yeah,
it.
maybe.
Is that part of it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know people, they panic. Yeah, I just put my hand down my pants and I feel better.
Really?
Jesus,
Can you imagine?
like Al Bundy.
Sir.
Sitting there with his
I'm
hand around his
claustrophobic.
balls.
Well, put your hands
Well,
down your
you-
pants makes anyone feel better. I don't care.
Well, they have those pervs on the plane, that like
Whoa, whoa,
yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa. You don't just because you put your hands down your pants doesn't mean you're a perv. I mean,
it doesn't.
no, dude. When I'm sitting on the couch.
No, on a plane.
On a plane.
Oh, but
Uh-huh.
So if you're
You
sitting
still
there,
think it's okay. You're trying to fight
so
us
if you're
here.
sitting there in the window seat and you're like cramming your hands down your pants, that's not pervy.
And you're like, wow, I have such an itch for 10 minutes.
well, if you just got your hands down your pants and you're just cupping your balls, I mean, this is the.
No, if you're
I'm
sitting
just-
there,
what are you doing? I'm giving myself a hug.
yeah, but I don't care on a plane when you're sitting that close and you're touching the person next to you and your hands are around your balls.
Okay.
All right, when your hands down your pants and there's like physical contact with the
Yeah.
person next to you, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, even better.
That
when,
doesn't smell.
when the flight
pass the
attendant
smell
comes
test.
along with the tray of drinks.
Then you pull it out.
Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, here, I have a $5 bill here.
God.
gross.
A few pubes come out with it.
Oh, come
God,
on.
you and the
Yeah, you and the
pubes.
pubes. You and the pubes.
That's the first time I've ever said that word.
Yeah. Really? Ever?
Ever.
On any podcast?
I think so.
Dude. Okay, this moment is brought to you by another fabulous bourbon factoid.
Oh, you and this bourbon factoid site. We need to move on.
We're gonna carry
This is-
on to the next
This is
one.
bourbonfactoid.com.
We don't even remember
Yeah.
the last 10 you told us.
I know.
All right, well, hold on. Well, you know what? So the 15 the fun bourbon facts to wow your bar companions.
Oh, God.
All right. So this next one is
We're not
interesting.
I haven't been wowed yet.
Well, I've already told you this one,
Well,
but
Thomas
we
Jefferson
weren't
was a
actually
good one.
we weren't recording at the time. So this one is kind of weird because it makes you think about our presidents back in it was Harry Truman.
Mhm.
President Truman started his day with a substantial breakfast with eggs, bacon, toast, milk, bourbon. Bourbon?
Bourbon.
And then
had-
he followed it with a phone call. Drop it.
Drop it like it's hot.
Drop
Drop it like it's hot.
Sir,
No.
should we do fat man or little boy? Do both.
Oh, nah. Well, Truman wasn't the one that was like, the secret is and carry a big stick, talk a lot of shit and carry a big stick.
No, that was Roosevelt.
Oh,
Teddy.
Yeah.
The Teddy
Teddy
version.
Roosevelt.
Was that World War One?
That was Teddy Roosevelt was
30s.
before World War One, wasn't he?
I thought. Well, he's 1930s.
Theodore, or I'm sorry, FDR was
FDR
World War II.
was World War II, and then he died.
Well, when was
and
Truman
then Truman
president?
took over.
Huh?
When was Truman president?
That was after Roosevelt.
Yeah, after FDR died.
So he was president for 4 terms. That's when they
So
put term limits
He
in.
was the
That's
33rd
correct.
president, Truman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So President Truman, but I mean, can you imagine? Because he would wake up at 5 in. He would the first thing he would do is he would go for a brisk walk,
Yes.
and when he got back from his walk, part of his daily regimen was to do a shot of wild turkey.
101,
Nice.
101 or the 80 proof.
I don't know.
It was rare breed.
I don't think they had red breed in that time, but
It's 126 proof.
That's crazy.
116.
But
Isn't it funny that people from a totally different time are drinking the same bourbon?
this is the president of the United
We are.
States. This was like a
You know what I mean? Isn't that
Right.
cool?
We got wild turkey out there.
This is back when they thought like smoking was acceptable, where they're smoking in the White House and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
You can have it. This kids can smoke. Everyone can smoke.
Mr. Producer, if you would, look up Teddy Roosevelt for me. I would like to know when he was president. What time period?
Was it the teens?
I'd say the
I thought it was the 30s.
19. No, this is
There he
dead.
goes.
Date of death was
No, that's when he
19
died is 1919. When was he president?
1901 to
Hey,
two
Holy
terms.
cow, I was way off.
So turn of the century.
So you're right. It was before World War One.
Yeah.
Dang.
He started what was his group that he did? God.
Oh, the Rough Riders.
Yes, the Rough Riders.
Yeah, that's the baseball team that we have.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, what did they do? What did the Rough Riders do? What was their significance?
They play baseball.
Oh.
Hey, which one of the presidents allegedly dressed up like woman?
That was Hoover.
Did you really?
No, that was the FBI.
We had a cross-dresser.
That was the FBI director.
a
Not the
cross-dressing
president.
FBI director.
Correct. That was Hoover.
What a name to do that too.
Right. No kidding. All right. So Woodrow Wilson was World War One. Now I'm remembering now. Woodrow Wilson, because the League of Nations, remember?
Right.
So he was World War One, and we got involved in World War One when the Lusitania was
The
sunk.
Lusitania.
Yeah, I did a book report on
That was
that.
down in the Cuba area, wasn't it? Down in the Caribbean, or where was that?
No. I think it was.
It was up in the Atlantic somewhere.
Yeah, it was over. It was over closer to Europe.
Well,
No.
there was
The Lusitania.
well, hold on, but William Taft was in between Roosevelt and Wilson.
Yes, but Woodrow Wilson, I'm fairly certain was. There we go. From 1913 to 21, he was the president during World War One. So I guess we need to know what the time period of World War One was.
He was the leader of the progressive movement.
I don't even know what that means. Is that liberals?
That's AOC today, right?
AOC?
Progressive movement.
Yeah, maybe.
It may have meant something different back then.
Well, there we go. It is 14 to 18. So it was 100% Woodrow Wilson.
Wow.
1914 to 1918.
Yeah, but he knocked that shit down.
Well, we got involved, but towards the end, and again, the sinking of the Lusitania led to that. There was outrage that a cruise ship would get torpedoed by the U-boats, and there was some shadiness having to do with it because it apparently exploded, like an unusual explosion, and that made people think that they were ferrying supplies, armament,
Right.
to the front line type of thing, and that's why it expedited its sinking.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway.
I'm looking at a
Some little
list
history.
of the presidents,
Yes.
and they've got this one listed as far as Congresses go. So they've got the years of service, and then the next category is how many Congresses have passed through.
Okay.
So I just thought that was interesting. So Woodrow Wilson, as you were saying, he went through 63, 64, 65, and 66
The
Congresses.
Congress.
Yeah, because it's every 2 years, right?
Yep. Every 2 years.
Right. Interesting. Yes.
No, I just thought that was kind of cool because they categorized it like that. Hey,
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting thinking, all right, what were the people thinking back then? Were they as lunatic as they were now?
I'm sure they were. I'm sure there were fucking fruitcakes out there.
Yeah.
And the
I
only
would agree.
difference is that we didn't have social media or the media period to be
Amplify
able
it.
to put it out there right away. I mean, there's so many things that happen all the time that go unchecked. I mean, there were people. There was some kid, some black kid in Texas that blew his way through school, and you didn't hear shit about that.
He did
Just-
what in the school?
He killed a couple people in the classroom. This happened this past week or the week before.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Timothy Wright
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
He's out already on bail.
Yeah.
we talk about that a little bit. Now.
Yeah, he posted a $75,000 bail, and then his family was like, "You got it all wrong about him. Like, he's not the monster that you're making him out to be." And then the video came out, and then the family of the victim. No one was killed. I think they were
I think 4
surgeries.
people died, right?
No, they were killed.
No, I don't think anybody was.
Oh, hold on.
I don't think anybody was killed. I hope not.
They were.
Oh, maybe one. It was awful.
well,
It was in Mansfield. Oh no, I'm not downplaying any death. So don't pin that on me.
This is high
It was
show
in
prep.
Mansfield. So because I was having lunch with a coworker who's from Mansfield that very day, and her kids were briefly locked down in the other school in Mansfield, and so she was very concerned about that incident. 4 hurt after student opens fire. So yeah, I don't think anyone passed. Thank God.
Well, you just scrolled through that really fast.
Yeah, you did. That was too fast. 18-year-old student accused in the shooting at Texas high school was released from jail after posting bond. He opened fire in a classroom. Arlington. I think it was more Mansfield, but whatever. 2 people shot. 2 suffered unspecified injuries. 3 counts of aggravated assault, the deadly weapon, and then he quickly went on the run, and then he was quickly apprehended.
All right. Well, I thought someone died. I'm glad no one did.
Yeah, I'm glad too. But apparently the video of the incident came out, and then the family of the victim was horrified by the video, and I could not get a clear answer on why it was horrifying, other than, of course,
Seeing their kid shot.
But they said something about they said they've never seen their kid act that way. Meaning, because that kid was claiming, the shooter was claiming being bullied.
Right.
And then the victim's family was like, they've never seen their kid act that way.
Then the video comes out showing that he was getting bullied.
I don't know. I couldn't get a clear answer from the article that I was reading, but it almost made me wonder if the victim's family was admitting that their son who got shot was the bully.
No, that's.
But they wouldn't do that.
Any kid that brings a gun to school.
Oh no, it doesn't.
Come
matter.
on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't solve that by shooting.
No,
people.
you don't. You don't. But they, the family was the Simpkins family was protesting that their son was being painted as a monster.
Let me think. Yeah, he shot some people. So.
Yeah, took a gun to school and shot some people. So
I guarantee you, had that been a white person, it'd been all over the news.
I thought it was locally. No,
Yeah,
it was national. I don't watch local news. It was national news. I can promise you that.
It wasn't. I mean, if it were a white person, I'm just saying it would have been worse.
You think so?
If fuck yeah. If it were a white kid that shot up block neighborhood, fuck
yeah, I don't know. So, earlier you were talking about New York City. So I've been there one time. And when I went, it was after 9/11, and they were starting the construction of I guess it's called Freedom Tower. Is that the replacement skyscraper?
Yeah.
And so it was very much under construction. Actually, the tower wasn't under construction at all. They had removed all the debris, which God knows how long that took, right? From the towers falling.
What do they do with all that?
I don't know. That's a great question. Where do they put that?
I don't know. I know some very small part of it's in museums across the country, but that's a lot of metal.
Sold it to China.
Shit.
Oh God, did they?
No, that's
Sold
true.
the metal to China.
Yep.
Oh, good Lord.
You'd be surprised. China buys all of our garbage.
I know they do the recycling.
Like, there's a guy in my neighborhood. His brother owns a dump. What do they call it? We take
Landfill.
A landfill, and plus they've got it's like a pawn shop. But you bring cars there, you bring anything to die. Landfill, whole thing.
Right.
There is the Chinese buy like 2 or 3 containers worth of stuff every day.
Wow.
Every day.
I wonder how the
precious metals. What they do is, like, if they got the section where there's old computers, and so they melt all that shit down, and they salvage all the precious metals out of there. And you may have an entire container filled with this precious metal with computers, and you melt them down, you'll get a lot of stuff out of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if China's able to do that because they just use their manual workforce.
Well,
Like,
that plus
there's people.
they don't care about the environment, so
That's
they
right.
just throw them into a big old smelter and go to town.
And then they
Well,
don't care about the health of their workers
right.
either.
Whereas here, they would just regulate the shit out of you and say, "Well, you can't do that,"
And make it not profitable.
and you got to pay your people $35 an hour.
Correct.
Yeah, you
That's,
gotta,
that-
'cause
that's
they're
the difference.
unionized.
It's an unfair
and you got to pay the
environment.
government 60% of your bourbon.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go. Anyway, but going back to New York City. So when I went, they had the entire pits dug out. So there was a giant square dirt. You know what I mean? They had
That's
cleared
kinda
everything
crazy.
and they dug it way down and they were working on the foundations of the new tower, right? And then they had like everything was not scaffolded, but they had like very construction like barriers around it, and then people could come and they could look over the barrier and they could look down into the pit, and that's what I did. And it was like you were describing earlier about it, very somber.
Mm.
It was amazingly somber because it wasn't that long after 9/11 actually happened that I was there, and seeing the pit dug out and people, like you said, makeshift memorials and stuff all around the barricade or whatever, pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Have you guys been up to the Oklahoma City?
No, the
Memorial.
bombing. No, I haven't.
No, I haven't seen that one either. I heard that one's pretty impressive as well.
That was, what was his name? Timothy
Timothy McVeigh.
McVeigh. And he put a bunch of fertilizer
Yep.
in a rented truck
In a U-Haul. I
Well, there's
think.
some blasting caps.
and
You know what's amazing about that
took
whole
off the
program
entire
is
side in front of that building.
Yeah.
what's amazing about that is how they found him and how they found who it was.
Well, they found a piece of the truck.
They found the axle had a serial
number on it.
Incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
they found him quick.
Before we jump
In
on
a couple
Yeah.
days, I think.
the
Yeah, they
Timothy
did.
McVeigh Oakland, I was going to mention one thing about what I learned being in New York.
Yeah.
Talking to one of these property managers I had to go talk to. They said one of the tallest buildings there, not the tallest, but one of the tallest buildings there
Yeah.
is leaning
Oh, gosh.
like by a lot. And they
And they're
have
trying to figure out how to,
there's a huge lawsuit. There's like 6-inch variance.
and they're trying to figure out how to
And-
like prop it back up.
And it's moving more and more.
Oh,
and
no.
this is- Dude, this is a big deal.
That's a
I-
problem.
Well, if that falls, that's taking out more than just that building. That's going to take everything out in its way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when the towers fell, it damaged, a lot of people don't know this, it damaged a ton of buildings around it
Oh, yeah.
to where they had to bring them down.
Oh, yeah.
Like multiple buildings had around the Twin Towers had to be
Oh, yeah.
imploded.
Well, that whole area is a park now. I mean,
Right.
like all around it too. I mean, God, just to think about what was going on at that time, and
Well, I mean, we
those big-
recently had the 20th anniversary, and we watched a lot of documentaries and shows about it, and I saw like footage I've never seen before. Anyway, sorry, keep going, Sean. But I mean, it was
it's
was
just
awful.
Yeah, it's awful. But I mean, we're looking at some pictures now with Timothy McVeigh and the Oklahoma City bombing, and they've got an aerial view of the front of that building.
oh my
and
god.
We're looking at an 8-story building, and probably 300-foot wide, a football field wide.
The
Somewhere
whole
in there.
face
maybe
of
a
the
little bit
building
more.
is gone.
It took the front third of the building off easily, and half of the
Yeah.
section. And the biggest party foul about this was that it took out the nursery.
The
the
daycare.
daycare.
Yeah, that was some sad shit, and
Yeah.
take
I
out a
have
bunch
to
of
hope.
kids.
I have to hope that, and I know why he did it. He was anti-government. He was mad about something, and he targeted the ATF. I don't know who was in the building. It was some federal building, though.
So, yeah. it's
And
the
I have to
Edgar
think that if
Amaro
had he
building.
known there was a nursery, he would not have done that, because you know how you can get psychological and you can separate yourself, like it's you against the system, and those aren't people. That's the
Yeah.
government. That's like a obscure entity. I think that's what he got himself into. I don't know the psyche behind why he did what he did, but I just hope that if he knew there was a nursery or a daycare, he wouldn't have done that. But when I saw those pictures, what reminded me of those pictures is when that Florida condo collapsed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It looked a lot like this.
It looked a lot like that.
Yeah.
Because there's shit hanging down from the levels,
Yep.
like the stories.
Yep. And Steven sent me a
It
story.
looked a lot like that.
Steven sent me a story that said there is a lot of infrastructure that is ready to just erode. Maybe they've done a bunch of studies down there since then to see. Okay,
Oh,
how
and
are the
along
other
the coast of Florida.
Yeah, I'm sure across. I'm sure it's just not Florida, but yet that whole strip there. You're thinking.
It's
So what I'm saying is
plenty of opportunity to breathe.
I wonder how many other buildings down there are at risk of doing
Well,
that.
I think they're saying quite a few. I don't know.
I mean, it could
You
be.
talking about Florida?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
that's what the emergency thing was, right? It was like, oh my God, do we have this other buildings that are in danger of this, right? So,
Right.
I don't know. It'd be interesting.
If that building was affected, I guarantee it, there are so many out there that in that same place, they're all built at the same time, same contractor probably.
God, that was awful, though. That was awful.
How many people? 120 people.
100 and something.
I didn't know that.
Ended up dying. Yeah.
I mean, you're just sitting there vacationing. Some people live there, and you're sleeping. Next thing you know, it's
Yeah. Imagine
you're getting pancaked.
Imagine Airbnb. You're
Yeah.
there. You're there in that moment. Like how unlucky.
That's what happened to a lot of the folks.
I know.
Vacation.
I mean, speaking of unlucky, did you hear about the plane crash that happened in Florida, and it killed a UPS driver who was making a delivery?
Oh, what happened there?
Unbelievable. No, it was a small plane that crashed into a neighborhood
Just hit a UPS guy.
and killed a UPS driver and burned some people in their homes. Yeah, this is a recent thing. This is just like 2 days ago.
It's terrible. I always wonder. I wonder why that doesn't happen more often with these Cessnas and these little private
Yeah,
jets
these
that
small
are flying around,
planes. Yeah,
that we don't have more accidents like that.
yeah, I know. Crazy.
Yeah, there's a house down the street that car went through the wall. It
Oh
was
wow.
down there right off of Rollander, and I don't know how it happened, but the car ran into the house and it went hood all the way into the house.
You kill somebody?
No,
Oh, thank God.
no. But
Yeah, imagine being in your bed,
yeah,
laying in your bed, and a car comes through the window and kills you.
yeah,
That's happened.
yeah. It's that house. I guarantee you go by it all the time.
So hold on. So I'm looking here. It says plane carrying 2 crashes in Volusia County Field.
No, this one crashed in a neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm
And
surprised that
just
doesn't
look
happen
up
more
plane
often.
crash, a UPS driver.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. That Timothy McVeigh, he got killed, put to death, I believe. He's dead.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Like they did it fast. They didn't give him much.
There weren't like,
the
well, maybe he
appeal.
didn't appeal.
I don't know.
Yeah, here it is. This is how unlucky. I mean, I just can't imagine. You're literally making a delivery, verge of retirement. Oh, of course. Been there for 30 years, on the verge of retirement. One of 2 people killed in the tragic crash.
See if that kind of video they got up there, Mr. Producer.
Actually
Audra
sent a
Stafford.
letter out to its employees letting them know that one of their longtime drivers, Steve Kruger, was the UPS driver that was killed in that plane crash. According to that letter, he had worked for UPS for 30 years. And I spoke to a neighbor who said that he was just months away from retirement. Now take a look. We have some more video from the scene that we can show you now. His longtime neighbor, Jim Lukemeyer, says that Steve loved to ski and had bought a home in Mammoth where he planned to spend a lot of time after retiring. But sadly, those plans were cut short yesterday
The
when,
truck is
according
demolished.
to witnesses, the wing of that twin-engine Cessna clipped his UPS truck and then went up in flames, destroying everything around it. Steve lived in Ocean Beach and had several tenants. Lukemeyer says he took great care of them and the property, even going so far as to vacuum the rooftops.
I was always
All right.
joking.
Unreal.
Vacuum the rooftops.
I mean, seriously, how unlucky. How unlucky. I mean, he was making a delivery. It wasn't like he lived there.
Right.
That's amazing. I mean, that reminds me of, like, was it 1987 when the Delta crashed at the Dallas airport? And
It was a wind shear, wasn't it?
Yes, and it plummeted early before it hit the runway and took out people driving along on 114. It
Yeah,
killed people on 114, and then the plane crashed and killed
Right.
everybody.
right.
And apparently that is the rule that forced corporations to separate. Like there was on that plane, there was a whole group of people from the same company, and they all died. And it created a huge mess for that company.
Right.
And so then after that, companies started saying, two VPs can't be on the same plane. They've got to, you know what I mean? They
Right.
have to separate and all
Yep.
that. Do you remember that? I mean, were you?
I wasn't down there. I was
So I wasn't either. So Sean, were you in Dallas when that Delta plane crashed at DFW?
in '87.
I believe it was
No.
87. Where would you have been? You would have been
I was in New Jersey.
in New Jersey. Okay. So none of us were there.
Yeah.
But there are people I know that were like, oh, yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
You know what's frustrating? I was perusing through the a list over here because we were on the presidents.
Yeah.
And a little thing popped up, said the 10 worst presidents.
I'm sure Donald
and
Trump is
oh,
right there
yeah.
at the bottom.
Is he number one?
No, he's number 2.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
I mean,
He's number 1.
James Buchanan.
That's just so ridiculous.
I mean, Jimmy Carter's not even on the list.
so ridiculous.
It should go Carter, Biden right now, soon to be Biden, Carter, and then probably Buchanan. What was Buchanan?
What are they basing that on? He actually fulfilled
He
his...
was a jerk,
Yeah, he fulfilled his campaign promises.
but he was a jerk.
If you consider the
jerk.
Heritage Foundation, do you know who that is? It's a conservative organization
Yeah.
that tries to hold candidates, hold them accountable for what they promised. They said he did more for the conservative cause in terms of like the things that he said he would do and the things that he did. They were ecstatic with his performance. So I mean, really, the number 2 worst president
Who
ever?
put that list out? Wikipedia?
The U.S. News.
Oh God! Shut the f up!
Yeah. So here's where they are as far as the
So
top
ridiculous.
10. I'm going from. Okay, I'll start from 10. Zachary Taylor, Hoover, John Tyler, and Millard Fillmer, Warren G. Harding. This is like the deep cut presidents. You never
Right.
heard these. William Henry Harrison, Franklin Pierce, Andrew Johnson, Donald Trump, and James Buchanan.
Whatever.
I mean, Carter's not even on the list.
Well, that's
Yeah.
everyone from
I
like
bet
the
they're-
1800s below,
I bet they're all Republicans.
and then Trump.
Yeah, they're probably all Republicans.
So I mean,
Well, no, there's a great switch, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was a great switch.
According to the Dems.
I mean, it's just little things like that. I mean, they're putting out there. Their people are reading. This is
Yeah,
reality.
this becomes fact.
These are facts.
Right.
This is This is rewriting history. You know, because that article will be out there that Donald Trump was the second worst president ever. It's so far from the truth. It's disgusting.
so far from the truth.
This is why I want him to win again.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but it's gonna further tear this country apart.
I don't think so.
I think Joe Biden's doing the same thing.
No, he's doing worse than Trump did.
Yeah. So you're saying
He's literally doing worse than
you're
Trump
saying
in terms
Trump-
of dividing the country.
Yeah, you don't want Trump because of that, but Joe Biden's doing it just as equal or more.
Right. By actions, not by his
Tweets.
stupid tweet comments.
Yeah.
Well, he can't tweet anymore.
Oh, he doesn't know how to type. He can't even see.
Does Joe Biden have
I'm
a
talking about Donald Trump. 'Cause people were like,
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
want
we
him-
want Trump without the tweets.
Well, he can't tweet. They canceled his account.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so.
So that's my point.
does Joe Biden tweet?
Joe Biden can't toot.
That's what I'm saying. He can't see.
I pooped this morning.
He probably doesn't know what Twitter is. He's probably like,
Yeah.
you don't need an AR-14.
Did you see the footage of your favorite vice president doing the space?
I didn't
Oh.
see the footage
Camel Toe Harris,
with paid child
Hired
actors.
child actors.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
paid. And they're all Canadian.
She's a she's a train wreck. A
She is.
complete train wreck.
Well, she was explaining to the kids saying, my mom was a scientist, and I remember she worked so hard that she used to take us to her work because, her dad was a piece of shit, I guess.
You know what I think? And I'm not exaggerating here, and maybe we'll still see it. I think the plan all along, nobody wanted Biden. but they knew they couldn't win an election against Trump if Biden didn't win and didn't run. Okay, so hear me out on this. And Nancy Pelosi was talking about the 25th Amendment before Trump was out of office. Okay, and the 25th Amendment was, looking at the legality of it to see how you could apply it and to make the president was not mentally capable, right? And people at the time were saying they weren't sure that it was for Trump. Like, it didn't add up, right? And then sure enough, what do? They bring Biden out. He wins the election, quote, quote. And I think all along they were going to remove him with the 25th Amendment because they really wanted Kamala Harris.
Well, she's just as much a train wreck.
And since then, Harris has completely derailed their plans because she's a train wreck.
She is. She's totally inept at what she does.
And I think that's what fell apart. I think their plan to remove Biden with the 25th Amendment fell apart because Harris,
she doesn't have the aptitude.
She
doesn't have
is.
anything.
She's like a fool, like a total clown.
She's fake.
Completely.
I mean, if you watch this video,
no.
It's so insincere.
Really?
She banged
Have you seen
Montel
it?
Williams.
No, I haven't. I can't stomach it.
Let's watch it, Mr.
All right,
Producer.
go ahead. Let's do it.
It's so insincere and fake and over the top.
And they said there were no child actors used in this video, and then they were like, yeah, they're all child actors.
Yeah.
They just lie.
Oh, she would take us to the lab with her, like on the weekends and after school, because she had to work long hours. And I just love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we just haven't figured out or discovered
her
yet.
message is
To think
there's
about
nothing wrong
so
with her
much that's
message.
out
It's just
there that we still have to learn.
she's full of shit.
I love that. I love that. And so I'm very excited about the Space Council. We're going to learn so much as we increasingly, I think, are curious and interested in the potential for the discoveries and the work we can do in space. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are going to see.
Notice the
you're gonna
demographics of the
literally
children.
see the craters on the
Okay,
moon
see, we
with
have an
your
African American
own
boy.
eyes. With your own
I don't see any
eyes.
white
I'm telling you,
boys.
It is going to be
I see Asian, 2
unbelievable.
blacks and Asian, a white woman. I don't see any white boys.
No.
Well, there's a white girl.
Yeah, the white girl. I think she might have been transgender.
So what I think when I see this now.
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
What I think when I see this now is, I wonder how many takes they had to do to get this.
Yeah, because it was all
Because they kind of
staged.
present this as an impromptu little gathering on a porch,
scroll. Can you scroll back?
and I wonder.
They showed the kids all standing there. So it literally does not have a white boy. There is a black girl, a black boy, a Hispanic boy, a white girl, and I guess an Asian girl.
Right.
No white boy. Interesting.
That
Okay.
was that was on purpose.
Oh, 100% on purpose. 100% on purpose. So that's racism.
Whatever.
Did you see how they were dogging, both Biden and Harris were dogging Columbus
No, what they said.
on
You know,
Columbus Day?
What were they talking about?
No, they
I
were
heard
saying
her-
that he was horrible for the new world.
You wouldn't be here without Columbus.
Right, I know. But they were dogging him big time. Indigenous tribe,
Oh, whatever. It's Columbus Day.
Right, I know. But they were totally dogging him. Yeah.
It'll always be Columbus Day.
Yeah, I know. It will be
For me anyway. At some point, I bet they take that.
They'll weed it
away.
out. Us old farts will die,
Yeah.
and then Indigenous Day will take over.
Indigenous Day.
Yeah, because he was evil. He was totally evil, apparently. Christopher Columbus.
Apparently.
Anyway, yeah, I'm getting all mired in negativity. I don't want negativity. Let's talk about something funny, like Harris. She's funny, right?
Well, she is. I mean,
She laughs a lot.
Oh, because she doesn't know the answer to something,
I
and she
know.
laughs.
I know.
Yeah, she's a piece of work, and the thing is, they're like, how much money did we pay Canada to do that? How much tax money did we pay Canada?
So you said they were all Canadian children
it's
actors.
a Canadian.
Are you sure?
Positive. I was on watching the news, and they're like, yeah, the production company is a Canadian company, and all those kids are Canadian actors.
That's
And
just
the name of the
nauseating.
production company is called Shipping or Sinking Ship Production.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, that totally defines her
Right.
her vice presidency.
Right. So yeah, so it's so they're like, yeah, I wonder how many of our tax dollars made it into Canada
Lovely. Yeah.
to pay for this video.
Yeah, that's great. She's such a fool, man. She can't do anything right because she has no idea what she's doing. There's not one shred of authenticity.
Well, this comes from them hiring a publicist specifically for Kamala Harris, trying to improve her image because it's gone through the tank, right?
Yeah,
And this is probably their first adventure, and it failed miserably.
miserably. What do you
Yeah,
think,
I'm
Sean?
not happy with her at all. I mean, just the whole thing where they were like passing the ball to her. We're going to let her take care of the wall. And she totally sucked on that. She went down south.
She's never gone.
She went down south. She went even further. Yeah, she did.
She went to El
Has
Paso.
she been to the border?
She went to
Yeah, she went to the border after Donald Trump said, "I'm going to the border." And she was like, "Oh hell, I got to go now."
but
and-
she went to a place that was not bad. So she went to like El Paso. She didn't go to the bad spots.
El Paso's bad. I think she went to California.
Is that where she went?
She didn't go to she did not go to a bad spot. But I want to tell you right now, El Paso is a bad spot.
Well, I know, but where she went was there was nothing going on.
Was she greeted with a bunch of signs and people
Yeah,
that
of course.
protested?
No, well, everywhere she goes, and Biden. You see
Yeah.
that footage wherever he goes. There's like a whole group of
People that just
Protesters.
are disgusted.
"Let's go, Brandon," all the way, all down the
Let's
street.
go, Brandon.
Yeah,
That's
God.
funny by itself. Hey, look, I got a little trivia for you.
All right.
Of all the states,
is it bourbon related?
all of our 51 states,
Kentucky.
how many? What?
Tennessee.
Which is for regarding power consumption? Which is the least?
The people that use the least amount of electricity,
Correct.
Energy.
Montana.
I'm going to go with, damn. Okay, fine. I'll change mine. North Dakota. Montana and North Dakota. Those are our two guesses.
Possibly Maine or Vermont, though, because that's fairly rural up there too.
So I'll start with the top 10,
Okay.
and those didn't make it.
Neither one of those are in the top 10.
Neither.
Are you going to start at number 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
And count down.
Maybe Wyoming,
Okay, I'm changing mine. Idaho.
Iowa, Utah,
Mississippi.
Okay.
Canada,
This is fucked up.
Indiana, Iowa.
Kentucky, West Virginia, Missouri,
Oregon. Washington.
Alabama.
Anything we've said
All
so
right,
far in
so
the top 10?
In 10, it goes Florida,
That's my next guess.
Massachusetts,
Hold on. Start over. What's number 10?
Florida,
Florida. Okay.
Massachusetts,
They use the least power.
Wisconsin,
How? How's that
Virginia,
possible?
I don't know.
Nebraska, Idaho, New Hampshire, Utah, Minnesota, Washington.
Those are
I
all
said
my-
Washington.
Those are all my guesses. So Florida, I hope yes on that.
Yeah, that seems hard to believe.
How much power does Disney World use?
So some states shine in healthcare,
Is there an
some
asterisk
sort of
excluding Disney
education.
World?
What?
Is there an asterisk saying excluding Disney World?
No.
Oh.
I don't see an asterisk at all. Yeah, it goes further down, but it's just kind of. I'm going to back up here. The most least energy efficient states.
Least energy efficient states.
Well,
Now we're going the opposite side.
Yeah, that's the other way.
So
If
let's see.
Florida's in there, we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna
Florida, no. Well, it says Utah, New York, and Massachusetts are among
Least
the
energy
most energy
hog-
efficient states. Utah, New York, and Massachusetts are among the most energy efficient states.
Well, New York, outside of New York City, there's really nothing going on.
Okay. This is hokey.
All right, so these are the most energy
Yeah, that
efficient states.
downtown, that
Okay,
downtown
so
alone.
look, I misspoke earlier. So those were the best states. in some sort of poll, according to healthcare, according to education,
Oh.
according to
I thought we were talking about
livelihood.
power consumption.
And
Yeah,
Washington
well,
was number one.
That's what it was. I was talking about power consumption, but the stats that were below the little thing that said this is the power, it was kind of skewed. So this is these are the most energy efficient states, and you had the least efficient. So you got Utah as the number one
Most efficient.
most energy efficient states.
Okay.
Well, it starts from Connecticut, which is weird. I would not think Connecticut would be one, but I don't know.
They have a bunch of solar panels.
They do.
It's very small.
No, well, it is small.
There you
Uh,
go. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
California is number 9
Oh yeah.
as the
whatever.
most energy efficient state.
It's because they give brownouts.
Yeah, they don't have any energy
They
at
cut
all.
all that shit off.
Wisconsin.
We have this much energy, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, when they lose power, they're like, "This is fantastic. We're not using any energy."
But we're being efficient.
Yeah, we're efficient. God, I gotta.
We made people's top list.
I'm so
yeah,
cold in
this
my
causes
food.
cancer only in our country, or only in our state.
All my food is thawing.
Shit.
So they got Wisconsin, then Vermont, then Colorado. Colorado's number 6. Rhode Island.
Small.
Small.
Yeah. Rhode Island.
It has to have more than 100 people.
I gotta tell you, my trip down to I've been enlightened with my trip to New Jersey, New York, as far as geography goes.
Yeah, you got liberal.
How
He's SJW. He didn't deny it.
dare you?
He did not deny it.
No,
Describe.
that's not true.
Describe the text you sent to us after arriving in New
I
Jersey.
said I'm moving here because it's beautiful.
No, you said New York is my new favorite place.
I said New Jersey.
You
so-
said, "I believe I've been wrong about my politics all along."
That's not what I said.
That's what I heard.
That's not what I said.
Go Joe.
I heard "Go Joe."
No, I did not.
Let's go, Joe Biden.
I
Joe
said,
Biden.
let's go, Brandon. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah. Anyway.
But my point is,
yeah.
It's like,
What,
I got the
how have
vaccine.
you been enlightened? Enlighten us.
okay.
Hmm.
Do you even know what Rhode Island looks like?
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
It's
It's like a square.
more of a rectangle.
It's a rhombus.
So it is.
Rhomboidian.
It is like Florida. It's a peninsula that sticks out,
Yes.
and there is a. It is.
Oh, it's beautiful up there.
and it,
Absolutely beautiful.
and it's like
How
a
have you
turd.
been there?
It's like a turd
I lived up
sticking
that
off
way.
of the United
Everything's
States.
close up there.
I'm serious. It's like a turd sticking off because you've got this big peninsula coming out, and then the closer you get to the inland, it's like it's squeezing it off. So it's
like a
thinner
pinch.
at the top. Like so you got this little.
It's tapered.
It's like a
so your butthole doesn't slide.
it's like a bowel movement ender.
Yeah, a turd cutter. So
Yeah.
So your butthole doesn't go
Why would your butthole go?
because it's that tapered.
Oh, it needs to go.
So it slowly closes.
Very nice.
splash. Anyways, Rhode Island is beautiful. I was in the sky.
Are we really talking about the sounds that a bowel movement makes?
I was
You
in the
did
sky.
anyway.
No,
and
no. You
We
did
were
it first.
on our
No.
way to
You led me there.
Newark
That was
from
Sean.
Dallas, and the plane kept having to do circles because of the weather events that were happening in Newark. So we kept circling back, and so I was looking on my map.
Was it a true circle?
No, it was more of a rhombus.
More elliptical?
Well, you were
Well, a rhombus has
you were
like corners.
trapezoidal.
Yeah, but they were.
Anyway, continue.
Well, we were spiraling. So basically,
Well, that's not good.
Well, I mean,
All the way down there.
it was crazy.
Like a toilet
So
bowl.
I mean,
We're going in
circled
for a
like
landing,
2
ladies and
hours. I mean,
gentlemen.
my trip there, back and forth on the plane, was a nightmare. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of. I mean,
As well as your car rental
well, the car rental was another nightmare.
and your hotel.
Well, the hotel was fine after the first night.
But did
Uh,
you book the wrong hotel?
No, you
Well,
went to the wrong hotel.
I went to the wrong hotel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was human
Yeah.
error.
That was human error. I rented the wrong hotel. I booked the wrong hotel. I thought
No,
I
you
was
booked
going,
the right hotel. You went to the wrong one.
I went to the wrong one, but it turned out it was the better one. I mean, the other one was nicer, but it wasn't that nicer. You know?
He's talking himself into it.
No,
Yeah.
no. I was.
Mine
He's
was
like-
better, but the other one was nicer.
He's like, I've just been inconvenienced by 6 hours, but Everything happens for a reason.
Well,
Look how
the
nice.
first hotel
Look
that I
how
went to,
nice
there was
this
no-
hotel is.
There was nothing around
and
it.
they're so friendly.
There were no stores. There was
they're all
nothing. It was like
vaccinated.
in the middle of nowhere
Oh.
because it was right. It was like you had a hotel here, and then you had the Giants, the Mets Life Stadium.
right.
So it was just like there were no convenience stores, there were no restaurants, there was like nothing there. So even as upset as I was when I walked in there looking for my hotel room, and I was kind of like, oh, there's no shit for
I'm at home here.
because I went back to my car and I looked at my piece of paper and I was like, oh, this isn't the fucking right address. You son of a bitch. It was a little embarrassing.
And we're like, no, we have no record of a Sean here.
Yeah, they said that.
And you're like, oh, but I know I booked it.
So, anyways,
Are
whatever.
you sure it's not the other hotel?
Let me see your hotel
Yeah.
paperwork.
They're like, that's over in Rhode Island.
And time flies when you're.
Drunk.
I'm not drunk.
We
am
didn't
I?
even get to share the story of CVS closing 5 more stores in San Francisco because of the shoplifting.
I didn't. No, we did not.
No, we're going to have to cover that next time. Actually, I
All
think we
right,
just
well,
covered it.
Happy Tuesday. I had a good
No,
time.
Wednesday.
Thank you guys. Oh, it's Wednesday. That's right.
It's hump day.
We have birthday parties. this
Someone
past
had
week.
priorities, I guess.
Yeah, it was my wife's 50th yesterday.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't?
No.
We went to Outback. It was yummy steak.
I like Outback.
I know, me too.
Nothing wrong with Outback.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Nice
This is
steaks.
Dudes Like Us. I'm Paul.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jeff.
And that's a wrap.
Peace out. Bitches.